Yeah, that's a big problem. We're really not concerned, at least in the studio process, the creative process, how we're going to ultimately play things live. So it's pretty humorous after we've completed the record to have to think back. Okay, there's 7 guitar parts, or there's 6 keyboard parts, or it sounds like there's 5 guys playing drums. How in the heck are we going to actually do this on stage? And we really do go through somewhat of a translation to figure out how to authentically convey that in front of an audience.
Very cool, very cool. I assumed every time I listened to a Linkin Park record, I was like, wow, they're making this. Wow, this sounds awesome. It sounds cool, but I can't even imagine trying to wrap my head around bringing that to a live setting.
I used to get into fights with Mike because I'd be like, oh, put that in there, put that in there. And he would always stop me because he's thinking ahead. Yeah. He's very responsible. And he'd say, like, okay, dude, if we put this, we already have, like, 2 guitar parts, 3 guitar parts. Like, it's physically impossible to add another guitar and play it live. And I'm like, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out later. And I think I browbeat him so many times over our decade-plus history that he's just conceded that to me now.
There was a moment we were working with Don Gilmore on, I can't remember whether it was Hybrid Theory or Meteora, but I think it was Hybrid Theory, and there were moments on the record where my lines in the chorus or somewhere else in the song would overlap literally to where, it would be impossible for me to do it live. Right. And at one point I said, I don't think this is a great idea because how am I going to do this live? And Don Gilmore's response was, that sounds like somebody else's problem, not mine.
He has a point.
And I was like, okay, I guess we're going to do it that way then.
He has a point. Now, Chester, regarding you have one of the biggest and arguably the best voices in rock and roll music. I mean, you have really great tone and also super powerful. How do you do that night in and night out when you guys go on these like 200-date tours? How are you able to continually do it?
You ask him that question as Gene Simmons.
I can get Gene to do it if he'd like.
I mean, can we ask? Sorry, can we? Is Gene available?
Yes.
Ask that
Gene, get up from under the table.
Chester, I was thinking about when we went on the Destroyer tour. It was huge tour, 300 dates, and even I, who only sings a few of the songs for Kiss, my voice would go out at times, and I had a regimen of tea and other things that I would use, mostly 14-year-old Thai girls. That really helped soothe my throat. What do you use? What do you do off stage to maintain your voice night in and night out? Because you have a beautiful voice.
Well, I used to smoke. Cigarettes and drink Jack Daniels, and that seemed to work pretty well for a while.
Yes.
But honestly, the amount of energy that I get when I walk out on stage is so overwhelming that it's like if I'm not going that hard, I kind of almost don't know what to do with myself on stage. So I try to go off as crazy as I can
without hurting yourself.
Without hurting myself.
Which has happened.
Which doesn't happen very often.
Has happened.
Which has happened.
Yeah.
But I don't know how I do it. I've never been trained to sing. I just kind of go out and I hear the notes in my head and I try to make my body somehow do what I hear in my head. And 17 years of practice kind of helps.
It's just one of those things. You find that comfort zone that works for you, and you just try to.
Yeah, I just go out there, and I know that that all I want to do is make everybody that has come to the show feel like they've gotten what they came for, and to try to make the song sound as much like the record or more intense than what we put on the record, and it's easy to do. I think one of the things that helps me out, too, is the fact that Mike's in the band. It's not just me up there the whole time.
Right.
And, I do get to kind of get those little periods of where I can kind of catch my breath or, gather myself a little bit. But, it can be challenging at times to do that day in and day out.
We're talking music with the guys from Linkin Park, so let's hear some off of 1,000 Suns. You've probably heard it already. The first single is The Catalyst. Brad and Chester from the band are in the house. September 14th, the album is available everywhere. It's The Catalyst right now on Loveline.